All right, so the process we've been through is we pre-wrote all of our credits. The opening credits are different from the closing credits because the closing credits are going to scroll and these are going to show up one at a time. You could use the same document for both and just pick and choose what you want to put in the opening. So we did that. We brought that into Photoshop and we have all of our titles stacked up at the beginning for the opening credits and then the credits just a very tall document. We did that. So if you're not sure, I'll try to link the videos to this in the comments. So then we took that into Adobe After Effects. We have the opening credits that do this. They fade in and out. They totally do. There we go. They fade, and they go sequentially through the whole thing. We stacked those up. Then we also did the end credits, and in this case, they scroll upwards. Now we want to be able to bring these into Premiere, and we want to do it in a way that such that when we change it here, it changes automatically in Premiere without having to think about it. So here's a sequence I've got. It's got some film in it. This is 1920 by 1080, and I've organized my content over in my project panel. So I've got a folder for all my footage, and I've got a folder for my sequences. Now notice my sequence that my film is in is named O2 main. And the reason it's called O2 main is I like to put things in order in my project panel so they're easy to find and the names make sense. So I'm going to make another sequence, and I'm going to import, actually I'm just going to import the content, and we'll have to drop it into another sequence. So my next sequence, I'm going to click here. I can right click and choose new item. Should be in here somewhere. There's new item somewhere. I saw a new item. Well, I can't find it, so let's scroll down. Gosh, I'm sure it's there somewhere. I'm just not seeing it. You're probably seeing it. Let's click on this button down here, new item. So if I choose new item sequence, then I'm going to name this and make sure it's the right size, 1920 by 1080. And I'm going to name this one 01 open credits. And I can actually duplicate that. If I right click and I'm sure there's a duplicate, there we go, duplicate. So this next one, I'm going to rename this, right click and rename. And I'm going to call this one 03 end credits. And let's do that one more time. Right click, duplicate. I'll find this quicker than doing it through new. Rename. This one's going to be 10 master. So I've got an ordering sequence. The reason I do that again is that when I click on name, it puts things in that order based on their file names. So that's how that works for me. So having done that, let's now import some stuff. And I'm going to prepare for including this by having some AE comps folders. So I'm just going to organize my stuff better. So if I go here, what I'm going to do is right click, I'm going to choose import, and I'm going to go and I'm going to import my footage. I'm just doing one sequence at a time. It's taking a minute. Here we go. So I'm going to go back to here in my passport. I've got a folder, theoretically, and here it is, demo titles. And I'm going to go find the one. Hopefully I saved that. I should go check. After Effects. It does not look like I saved it. It's called Untitled Project, so now I got to put it someplace I can find it. So save as, and I'm going to go put this in my demo titles, and I'm going to call this demo title 1. So now it's saved in the right place. So now I should be able to find it when I'm trying to import it into Premiere. So now I find it's in here. Didn't even have to close this. There's my demo title 1, and now it wants to know which sequence or which comp. So to be sure, I should probably go back and check the name before I do that. I'm going to get the opening credits first. It's just called opening creds. So as I import this, there's a dialog that shows up, and I want open creds. So this should work. Then you want to double check that it's the right one. So if I open this up, I can see it, and there it is. There it is. So I can now just drag and drop this into my opening credits. And you can add music. You could put some footage behind it, for example. So if I go to my footage folder, I want to see did this work out very good. Now the footage I'm using is just some Adobe stock material. So I think what I'll do is right now just try bringing in the sequence that is the main. because these pieces aren't that big. Oops. Let's put that up. So I'm moving this credits up in case I want to put some footage behind it. So now I get this, and I can see that for the most part that worked out, but there are some places where right there where the sky is kind of behind it. Let's roll this. So right there I kind of lose the background a little bit. So in that case, if I go back to After Effects or Premiere or whatever, I can edit this to change the look to make it show it better. And that's why we put edges or drop shadows or glow effects on there, so that no matter what we do, it's going to show up behind there. I'm going to go ahead and leave this on black, and that's fine. So I've got the opening credits. Now we'll do the same thing for the ending credits. So back into my folder for a comps, right-click, import. Now I'm doing this selected with the folder, so I don't have to move it later. And again, I'm going to go check. Which one is it? I want to make sure I've got the right one. End credits. Okay, end credits, that's not it. It's end credits 2. So that does this. Let's go grab that in Premiere. And as I go to the same title demo, I want end credits 2. Okay. And now I've got a sequence for that one. So let's import this, or let's go to my sequence for end credits. I'm opening this up by double-clicking on it. There we go. And this one, demo title. This one is end credits. There we go. So I drop this into place. And again, you can put footage behind it. You could do, it's kind of clicky. Now you notice this red bar right here. If you're trying to see what it looks like, if you choose render into out, now it's going to do a little bit of work. It's going to crank through those 1800 frames until it works. All right, so after some waiting around, I got this to play. And again, the command I used here was sequence and render into out, or render into out, and that allowed this entire thing to turn from red or yellow to green, and that means it works. So this flows okayishly. It could be a little bit faster, but it's actually a pretty good pace. It was a good guess on my part, and that works. So now I've got the sequences built up in here. What I'll do next is I'm going to put these all together in one by choosing the master sequence and just drop them one by one in order in here. And each one may have its own sound, and I like to stagger mine. So now I've got the whole film put together. Now this is just an example, so the work I've done, the credits and the titles are longer than the film itself, but just an example. So you might throw this together, and typically the film part might be longer. So I've got the opening credits, I've got this part, I've got the scrolling credits at the end, and then you can add some music into it or do some other mastering, and that's pretty much how it works. You're all set to go to make this work, and that's your titles and credits process. Hope that works for you.